Hello, I'm the disgruntled bartender. I wanted to discuss a little bit. We saw my bottle of rum, Bacardi 8-year-old. I want to make sure that everybody understood the basics of rum. I mean, there's so many other things that you can learn about rum that you can go into Wikipedia and just see all the different originations from Southeast Asia and all over the place, right? But when you really think about rum, you think about pirates, you think about Navy, you think about people in the Caribbean a lot of times. It became settled down there really well. You got Antigua, Mount Gay rum. You got Bacardi, which is in Puerto Rico. You got, you got Cruzan. You got Myers, right? But when you think about Myers, it's a molasses rum. It's darkened by adding more sugar to it, right? The fermentation process to the distillation is kind of made in stone with how they make rum. Is it easy to make? It sort of is if you have all the tools, right? But I just want everybody to understand that rum comes in really three different forms, especially if you're a bartender and you're serving drinks. They got the regular, I call it the pale or the silver, which is basically just a colorless type of alcohol that's made and distilled. It's standard when you think about Bacardi or Cruzan. They have their basic silver batch of rum that a lot of times is considered call brand because it's a brand that's known. That's why they consider it a call, and it's made a little bit better than a well brand. But the other thing I wanted to mention here, and I might have mentioned in the other one, is a lot of times well brands are actually made by the premium or the call brands. Like Bacardi makes a brand that's used in wells, but it uses a different name. The name is, can't remember for some reason right now. I think it's called Castillo. Castillo is a brand that is used in wells, and if you read the back of the bottle, it says made by Bacardi. So basically you're thinking, well, is that the same as Bacardi? It is. It really is. Now, the thing is, sometimes with these well-known brands, they want to hit every market. They want to make money from every market. So how do they do that? They come up with their own little well brand. They use a different name because I guess the rules of doing well brands has to be a certain level of it. You can't use your real name as the well brand, even though you're distributing it cheaper. But a lot of times these brands, they'll actually use the call brand in the bottle of the well brand because they have extra left over from the brew, from the distillation, things like that. So that's what they do with that. And a lot of times, if they do make it a little different, it's just a little slight difference. They might not filter it as much. They might whatever it. So it's kind of it becomes more of a well brand if they want to be legit about it. But most of them don't do that. They just actually use their regular call into the well. So if you go to a bar and you ask the person, you don't want to spend, they have $2 wells that night, let's say, like specials. And then if you get the premium, you're paying $5 plus for every drink. And you're sitting there, well, I'd rather do two. Do you have Castillo in the well? They go, yeah, I actually do. Good. Let's do the well and Coke. And then sometimes the bartenders don't even know this, that they're serving Bacardi at the well level. And the reason why you do that is it's not because you're true to the brand. You're true to making sure you don't get a hangover. If you drink a pure well liquor like Pavov vodka, that's a pure well liquor. You could buy a magnum of that for less than $10, right? And you're going to have a hangover because the alcohol is not filtered as well. It's not processed as well. It's just made quickly to just get it out the door and make some sort of money on the lower end market. On a bag, I'm not trying to down Pavlov. They might have something higher up, but that's the thing that I've grown up was like that is a cheap vodka that anybody could get in any store and for nothing. And is that good? No, it's not good because what happens is if you get a regular well-branded brand, I guess, you're going to wake up with a headache if you drink too much of it. And if you're drinking rum well-branded, you're going to really get a headache because you have sugar in a rum. So sugar can create dehydration, cause hangovers, and things like that. So you got to be careful with rum. So as a cautious, if you go to a bar all the time, ask them what their well rum is. They'll tell you. You can Google it on your phone to make sure what I'm telling you is correct. Maybe this changed. I don't know. But if it is a Castillo, then basically you're basically getting Bacardi in the well, and try it out. See how you feel the next day. If you're feeling okay, like a regular Bacardi, then go for it. But that's the difference between wells and calls and premiums and super premiums and la 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 la, right? Is normally the higher you go in price and the higher you go in stature of the liquor, the less headache, less remorse you're going to have after that night. Now, if you overdrink, you don't eat and things like that, that'll also cause problems. You're not, just because you drink a really good brand that's super premium and things like that doesn't mean you're going to get away from a hangover. You got to still, there's other things we're going to talk about in another video. But it's the same thing like when I drink Grand Marnier as a top on a margarita or on a Long Island iced tea or whatever. You're not going to get the same kind of reaction that you get from the generic Grand Gala. Grand Gala, when you drink it, you actually feel the toxins hit you and you're like, whoa. And then all of a sudden the smoothness comes after it. Whereas Grand Gala, it's all together, meaning it's smooth all the way together. And that's one way to find out if your well is something that you could drink. If you drink the well and you're really getting that toxic feel at the beginning of it, I would stop drinking that well. I mean, unless you want a rough night or a rough morning the next day, I would get off that and find another solution that's a call that's more of a smoother taste, because the taste actually dictates the pain that you may or may not be feeling the next day. So back to rum, you got the silver rum, which is basically just something that's processed and distilled and be created into a rum format from sugarcane, mainly from sugarcane. Molasses is sometimes added into Myers and things like that. Then you have the gold rum, which is aged rum, and they age it in the buckets, I call them, the tumblers and stuff like that. They age them in these oaken barrels, and it creates a little bit of gold color to it because of the aging plus the tannin from the other rounds that they used in the same barrels beforehand. So that it's going to be a smoother taste. You need less of a soda or whatever to add to it to get it down to your, into your system. Then, of course, you got the dark rums like Myers. It always comes to mind is Myers rum has got the molasses added to it. And it becomes a real deep, sweeter rum than regular rum. And that's great for tropical drinks. It's great for daiquiris, floaters, any kind of floater on any kind of frozen drink or any drink. Myers is great. Myers and Coke is just like drinking Coca-Cola because you get actually it turns more sweeter than Coca-Cola. So those are the things you got to think about when you're looking at rum. So rum is a enjoyable drink, and especially if you're on the beach or in a nightclub or whatever, it's just something you can drink anywhere, and it's really tasty. Be careful of your teeth because you're going to rot your teeth out if you drink too much into the cup with the sodas and different things like that. You got to really brush your teeth every night. Also, the straws that you get in these cups, little sipsters, those are great. They'll make you drunker quicker because your oxygen's going in through the straws. It delineates some oxygen from your body and creates a more drunkenness constitution for consumption. So if you want to get drunk for less money, you drink out of a straw, but be careful of drinking out of straws because they're there to set up to get you drunk quicker, so you feel like you're at a bar. That's a whole other subject we'll talk about next time. But I just wanted to bring up the rum aspect. We're going to talk about other liquor in a second. All right, thanks, bye.